Garden planning is about more than just drawing a pretty picture in your notebook and deciding where in your garden you're going to plant everything. Like, that is definitely important, but that is only one of the pieces that you need in order to have a successful garden throughout the entire season. If you're new here, hi, I'm Rachel, and right now we are in the middle of my free garden planning course for beginners, where we go over absolutely everything that you need to know to plan your garden. If you want to catch up, you can absolutely follow the link below and watch all of the previous lessons on the course page. So today we're going to be talking about how to use a calendar throughout the year in your planning and also while you are actually doing the things in your garden. And I know that this is going to sound like it's incredibly basic, but this is something that I didn't even start doing until a couple of years ago, and it really changed how efficient I was in my garden, and it changed how much I forgot stuff that I'd planned to do in my garden. It really kept me on track and also kept me prepared for what was coming next, because before this I was constantly playing the game of catch up, like, oh my goodness, now's the time to do that thing, I have to do it today or I'm going to be too late. And I don't want you to have to go through that. So especially if you're a beginner, but even if you are an experienced gardener, let's set ourselves up for success by actually thinking about our planner and our calendar right now. So if you are following along in the planner, which is linked down below for those of you who are new, there is an entire section of calendar pages. Obviously, you can use whatever calendar you like, but these calendar pages, every single one does have a journal prompt, and we'll be going over that in the next lesson and how to get the most out of those. But it is essentially a normal calendar aside from that, and so you can choose any sort of planner or calendar that you are going to be using consistently throughout the year. So the first thing that I need you to do with your calendar for the year, wherever it may be, is start by going back to this page that we filled out where we look at when everything needs to be planted and when everything needs to be harvested. And I want you to go ahead and fill in these dates in your calendar where you're going to be seeing them all the time and be able to be prepared for when these things need to happen. All right, once you've got that all filled in, that's all well and good, but the thing that is actually going to save you is going in throughout the year and using this calendar to record when you actually do things. When you plan on doing something and when it actually gets done, they often end up being different times. And so if you want to be able to go back when it's getting close to harvest time and say, when did this thing actually get planted? How many days has it been? Then that's what this is going to help you determine. I also like to do things like record when my last frost dates actually are or when the first frosts actually happen. Sometimes if there's a late frost, like later than the predicted, I will also record that. That information just adds to the collection of things that I can look at when I open my calendar from last year and start trying to make decisions on, okay, what day am I actually going to be doing all of these things, specifically like planting out my transplants. If we had a late frost last year, maybe I might be a little bit more cautious, or I might have a plan in place to protect those little seedlings if we were to get a late frost again. Something else that I like to do to give myself a visual of when harvesting is happening, especially for those things that have a really long season, and especially for the perennials where I want to go back and see, okay, when did my raspberries actually start making raspberries last year, so that I can calm myself when this year it feels like they're taking forever. But what I like to do is I'd like to get those little round colored stickers, and I'll start placing a sticker for that fruit or whatever it is on every day that it is technically harvestable. This isn't every day that I actually harvested, but it's going to give me like a visual range of kind of the harvest season in general for that fruit. So I started with strawberries this past year, and then raspberries got added in very quickly, and then down here at the end of the month, blackberries started to be harvested. And then if we look over in the next month, you can see also blueberries started getting added in here at about the time that the strawberries stopped producing. And that information is going to be very helpful to me this year as I'm thinking about when should things be producing, but also when am I going to have the time to like actually do something with all of this fruit, and what can I plan to have available at what times of year. Something else that's on these particular calendar pages that are probably also in planner pages if you want to use your own planner is a to-do section and a notes section. I like to use this section to keep track of any pests that I'm currently dealing with or anything extraordinary that happened that I might need to know about when I'm flipping back next year to look at this information. And if you end up having thoughts or things to record that are going to be bigger than just a little notes section on a calendar page, then that's where the journaling section of this guided garden planner really comes into play, and is what makes it unique from all the other sort of garden planners out there, is that it's going to actually not only give you the space to record that stuff that's longer, but it's going to guide you through the sorts of things that actually should be recorded and that you're going to find useful next year, because especially as a beginner, you might not be super sure what you should be recording or what's worth talking about to, you next year. And that's what this is going to help you with, and that's what we're going to get into in more detail in the next video. So your homework for today is to fill in your calendar with all of those expected tasks and potentially get yourself some stickers or some pretty pens or whatever it is you want to use to keep track of your activities throughout the year. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson.